Joining us in studio, it's our NFL panel, Pelly, Curtis, and new to the pod, Matt Hyde. How are we doing today, boys?
Pretty good.
All right, Travis is out today with Greek fever, but he left the pod last week saying something. He thinks sports are rigged. Why do you say no?
Sports are definitely not rigged, Gabe. In my opinion, it's not, because why would you even watch sports if they are? Like, if
You do already.
No, do you believe, if you believe they are rigged, why do you watch sports?
There's nothing else on.
The entertainment value.
Is it entertaining if you think it's rigged?
We don't know how they've rigged it yet till after the fact.
Definitely not. And this is why. Professional sports, they're playing for contracts, they're playing for their jobs. It goes for referees, they're also playing for their jobs. Their money's on the line. That's all is a big reason why it's not rigged. They don't want to blow it. They'll get fired or something, you know?
Or something. Pelly, rebuttal?
Have you ever seen anything with soccer, with match fixing with players?
I mean, soccer's a whole different thing. I'm talking football, baseball,
is soccer
basketball.
not a sport?
I have no idea about soccer. But the three major sports are not rigged.
Name me the three major sports.
NFL,
entire world.
MLB, and NBA.
That's just
NBA and
America, though.
MLB. I see two rigged finals. Last two championships. 3-1. But somehow they're going to magically come back.
Just a coincidence, man.
Just magically.
I think the teams up 3-1 are really trying to blow it right now for ratings and money.
I think they're trying to get to Game 7 and then play it for real from there.
I don't think the players are, but the refs, a little money.
Once it
it'd be
gets to Game
super
7.
easy to rig a game. Super easy.
It's not that it's hard or easy, it's that it doesn't happen. Their reputations are on the line, their jobs on the line. It doesn't happen.
They're still working, no matter who wins, whether they rig it or not.
I love how naive and hopeful you are that everything is at its face value, Spence. It's
I'm
cute.
also
It's
a
really
believer
cute.
and I love sports, and if they were rigged, and if it ever came out that they were even sort of rigged majority of the time, I wouldn't like sports as much. I'm out there to believe that the players are trying their best out there and that the refs are doing their job, keeping it fair, because I think it does at every level.
Matt Hyde, what do you think about this?
I don't think sports are rigged at all. I think
Thank you.
having worked in professional sports for almost 10 years, I could say being around players who put their bodies on the line to win games, there's no way that they would throw that away just to rig a game.
This has come from a true professional who worked in the NFL.
Speak more to that, Matt. What did you do in the NFL?
I worked in media relations for the Buffalo Bills for almost 10 years. So, and then I came here to Hilbert 3.5 years ago. So that's why I'm on the podcast with you. Happy to be here.
And let's say you're very overqualified for this podcast.
You're very underqualified, Spencer.
Yeah, especially for Spence's standards. Ignorance is bliss. Let's move on. How do you guys like the new PAT rule?
I did a little homework on this one, Gabe.
Well, that's something new.
Yeah. 99% of the field goals were made under the old rule. Now 95% are made under the new rule. Now it's only a 4% difference, but it plays an important key to the games, as we saw in the Saints and Broncos game last week. So I think it's a good rule.
I like it as well, Gabe. I think it makes a little more challenge to the game. That extra point isn't always free. Adds a little bit more of a trick to it, you could say, clearly, since 4% drop. Field goal kickers are missing more now than they ever were before.
Yeah, the games now are more intriguing to watch. I used to just change the channel after they score a touchdown because you know they're going to make the field goal. And it looked like players didn't even care or even try at all anymore. But now it's intriguing. They might miss it. They might go for two. The game's totally different.
Yeah, I think it's definitely added a new level of excitement just for a play that wasn't very exciting to begin with. So, yeah, I think it's a good rule change.
Speaking to what Spence said, though, he said field goal kickers are performing worse now than ever before. Is that true?
I don't think that's true. If you go back and look at the kicking percentages 10, 15, 20 years ago, they're going to be a lot lower than they are today.
And let me revise that because after I looked it up, the kickers now, I believe, still are missing more, but they're taking harder kicks now. They're making more and missing more. The kickers back in the day, 50 yards was like amazing. Now if you miss a 50-yarder, you might get cut the next week. So, I mean, the whole environment of kicking has changed a lot, too.
So I think what happened is just our standards for how a kicker should perform have gone up. So now when they miss, it's like, whoa, how did they miss that? It's a gimme. And so I think that's what really has happened.
Yeah, Blair Walsh got cut today by the Vikings.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Don't miss your extra points.
Mm-hmm. 4 of them.
No.
what everyone thinks is the easiest job in NFL is really might be one of the hardest.
It's so maybe athletically you can argue it's not the hardest, but mentally, that's where it's at.
It's all right. Kurt's still training for that PAT specialist job.
I'm ready. Anybody in the
You
NFL?
got connections, Matt. You can
I
get
can hit 100 for 132-yard field goals.
This is better than any Browns kicker.
Put me in.
All right, let's move on. Dak Prescott had a day. Travis is out with Greek fever, probably because his opinions were horrible. I don't know how he feels now. My question to you guys, he was not on the Dak bandwagon. My question to you, should the Cowboys just trade Romo now?
Well, they can't. The trade deadline has passed, so they can't trade him. I think maybe they should have.
What about around draft time or at the end of the season?
I think it's a possibility. I think the contract might be difficult to trade. I think Dak is great. I liked him coming out. I didn't think he would be doing as well as he is doing. So he surprised me there. But I also think there's still a curve there. I think we could see definitely a drop-off in his production. And I think the team he's on has a lot to do with how well he's playing as well. Obviously, their offensive line is pretty highly regarded, and for good reason. So I think that's helping him out a lot. The running game is helping him out a lot, but he's definitely shown he can make all the throws. Whether or not defenses can figure out what throws are his most difficult, I think that's going to be the deciding factor. Because you see it a lot of time when people come into the league and start having success, defensive coordinators start to figure out what they're not doing, and they force them to do that.
And it takes a year of footage for the defense
sometimes it
to
takes a
figure
little bit
that
of
out.
time. Yeah,
Do you think it's inevitable that the Cowboys will cut him at the end of the year?
Romo
Or beginning of next year?
I don't know if they'll cut him. I think they'll try to trade him. If they can't trade him, I think they'll try to restructure his deal in some way. And I think he would probably want to retire as a Cowboy. So he might be willing to work
I
with
think
them.
they'll sit down with him and restructure, and if they can't, they'll probably pressure him into retiring or cutting him. And I think he's going to take the retire route. He is 36 years old, and Dak got his job just the same way Romo did. And I think Romo understands that, and it's time for Dak to grow in the young offensive line and the young running back, just to mesh together.
I mean, looking into what Matt's saying, I couldn't agree more. Can't get rid of him now. Maybe at the end of the year, you'll think about it. Because there's some teams out there that could definitely use Romo, and he'd be a great thing for them.
Especially the Jets.
Yeah, I mean, again, looking into it, though, next year, who knows? Other teams do research. They could find a way to stop Dak. I mean, he's a great quarterback, but his plays are not anything out of something you can't figure out. He's not like a Brady where no matter what you do, you're probably not going to stop
And
him.
the only way to get better is experience.
I don't know if I'd get rid of Romo. I don't know. I'm not going to play him right at this moment, but I don't know if I'm getting rid of him because who knows, next year Dak might not be what he is right now.
You also got to pay him $19 to $20 million for the next couple of years to be your backup.
Yeah, I agree with all these points. He's owed $59 million in the next 3 years, and he's taken a $25 million cap space up in the Dallas roster. I think they should just get rid of him.
So just to be clear, that this point is beyond dispute, Romo should not be starting.
Oh, no doubt.
Not a
He shouldn't
chance.
be out on the field.
You hear that, Travis? All right, here's my take on it. I think, so it just came out, Dak has a great game, and Jerry Jones, which it's weird that the general manager is making this announcement, but say that for another day. Jerry Jones says that Romo will be second string behind Dak. They're just announcing what already has been for this entire season. Romo has been there for Dak. He's been a great mentor. I would be an advocate for, if Dak gets hurt, you have Romo as your second QB, not the worst second QB in the league. I'd be an advocate for if Romo retires, hire him on the coaching staff, continue to mentor Dak. But right now, you got to ride Dak. He's hot. Of course, he's going to have growing pains, but I'm thinking long term, and immediately right now, he's playing great. Let's move on to preview the upcoming games of the week. Thursday night, Saints at the Panthers. Who do we like?
I like the Panthers in this one. I think the Saints beat Carolina earlier in the year, in October, and I think I don't know. It was a close game, and I think it'll be a close game again. But I think I give the edge to the Panthers.
Looking into this game for me, I think I'm going to take Drew Brees in this one. He's a great quarterback, and I see him just using all of his weapons at his wide receivers that he possibly can. The running game's okay. I mean, the Panthers haven't done anything to please me this year, so I'm going to pick the Saints.
I can't figure out what's going on with the Panthers this year. They seem like a good team that is playing awful, so I have to go with Saints.
You know, my favorite fantasy player to watch is Drew Brees. For one reason, he's on my team, and he just scores a lot of points. And I feel like he's going to have another great day this week. Saints win.
As much as it pains me, I'm a big Cam Newton fan. I was ever since Auburn. He's just mentally not there right now. The team is falling apart, surprisingly. I can't explain it. Drew Brees, the defense isn't there, but you still have Drew Brees. I'm going to go with the Saints. Ravens, Cowboys.
So I'm the only one taking the Panthers.
Oh, yeah. You might look good. Ravens, Cowboys.
I hate to do it because I'm not a big fan of the Cowboys, but I got to go with the Cowboys. Ravens have the number 1 defense in the league right now. Cowboys, I think, are top 5 in offense, maybe 3rd. So something's got to give. Cowboys at home, so I'll take them.
I mean, all the points Matt's saying, I think that's the reason I'm going with the Ravens this week. I like their defense. I like their offense. I like Joe Flacco. I think he's going to respond this week, so I think they're going to beat the Cowboys.
I think this is an easy one. Cowboys. They're Dak Prescott, Ezekiel Elliott, best line at home. No question about it. If the Ravens were at home, it might be more of a discussion, but I think it's easy to pick the best team in the league right now.
Yeah,
Cowboys.
I don't think there's anything stopping the Cowboys right now. There's no way they lose this game.
All right, Maloney. Here's why the Cowboys win. Any team that struggles against the Browns, I don't like them. They're done. It's done. Cowboys win it. Steelers, Browns.
Well, there you go. Steelers, Browns. 0-10. They're at home, but I think they go 0-11. I think the Steelers pull that one out.
Let's get the Browns a win this week. Huh?
You said that 3 weeks in a row.
Nah, I'm just kidding. Big Ben's going to roll them over.
Why are we even discussing this game? The Steelers, come on.
I feel like Gabe just wants more.
Will the Browns win? That's my big question,
No,
Spence.
they're 0-16. I thought they would beat the Ravens, but
They're
because they
0-16
didn't,
right now?
they're going to be.
Oh, okay.
It's inevitable. We can mark it down right now. They couldn't beat the Ravens. They're not going to beat anyone else left on their schedule. The Bills are the only option. They can beat the Bills. If not, they're 0-16.
I think we said this a couple weeks ago. If Terrell Pryor doesn't play every position on the field, the Browns can't win. So the Browns lose.
True. Ben Roethlisberger. This is a great warm-up game again. I know he played well last week. He played decently last week. This is a good game for him to get back in the groove, get back in the middle of things. Not every day you get to go against an NFL caliber practice squad. Should be good. Bills at the Bengals.
Well, I said I work for the Bills, so I'm going with the Bills. I'm a Bills fan. I still have tickets, so I'm going with the Bills. I think the 3rd-ranked rushing offense against the 24th-ranked defense. I think the Bills.
Ooh, yeah.
I like this
Throw
game
that on
too.
for the pod.
Huge Bills fan, but this is do or die week for the Bills and essential. And if Shady doesn't get the ball a lot, I think they're going to get torched. But I want to go with the Bills, but I can't lose another pick in this game we got going in the pod. So I'm going Bengals.
I am not a Bills fan, but I am going Bills at the Bengals. I think the Bills are going to pull this one off in a close one.
I think the key to the Bills' victory this week is if they can contain A.J. Green. Ronald Darby and Gilmore are looking horrendous right now, but I feel like Rex Ryan's pondering up some schemes for this week for the Bills to win after the bye week.
So just to be clear, you're picking the Bills?
I am picking the Bills.
Okay. This is a tough one for me. I think this will be a good game. I'm looking forward to this game. I'm going to give the Bengals the edge. I think their defenses are they're good. They're both good. I think the Bengals offense just has slightly more upside. In other words, the Bills don't have A.J. Green.
Gabe, this is either going to put us deeper in the hole or we're going to start making a comeback this week. So
All or nothing.
Yeah.
Cardinals versus the Vikings.
I've got the Cardinals in this one. Yeah, the Vikings are just falling apart. Their offense is dreadful. I think the Cardinals score a couple defensive touchdowns.
I'd have to agree.
Oh, wow.
I'm liking the Cardinals again. I mean, you can't stop David Johnson. I mean, Let's be real there, and the Vikings are just falling apart through the seams, so I think their season's coming to an end.
I knew it was a fluke when the Vikings started out so good, and Sam Bradford can only be good for so long. So I got to go Cardinals.
Sam Bradford shouldn't even be a quarterback on any relevant team.
Bring in Tony
So-
Romo.
Yeah, exactly. So the Cardinals win.
Agreed. Cardinals win it. Dolphins versus the Rams.
I hate the Dolphins, but just announced Jared Goff is going to be starting, so yeah, I'm going to go with the Dolphins.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree too with the Dolphins pick here. I mean, I'm gonna interested to see this running back game. I like to see Ajayi against Gurley. That's really all I'm looking forward to in this one. So I'm picking the Dolphins.
It has to be pretty hard for Jared Goff to be sitting this whole time being the number one pick and coming in week 11. I think he's going to come in, just be a little rusty, and no surprise, the Dolphins are going to win this by 14.
I think the Dolphins are going to win, but I'm surprised to see that the Rams beat the Jets by only scoring 9 points last week. So that'll be interesting to see.
The Dolphins are quietly having a decent season, I think. It'll be interesting to see if they can win a wild card spot. I'm going to pick the Dolphins in this one. Eagles, Seahawks.
I think the Seahawks are rolling right now, and I think, Spence said something about the Vikings being a fluke. I thought the Eagles start the season. I was surprised with that. I think you saw with Carson Wentz a little bit of a fall off there. Not that he's bad, but I think he's coming back down to earth a little bit. So I think
Defense
the
has figured
Seahawks.
him out a little bit.
Yeah. So I'm going with the Seahawks.
Any team that beats the Patriots and Bill Belichick the week before, I'm gonna ride them again.
At Gillette Stadium.
Exactly. I'm taking the Seahawks in this one.
Yeah, you have to pick the Seahawks. I mean, you just beat the Patriots away, and they're playing the Eagles at home. And Russell Wilson at home is a much better quarterback than Russell Wilson away. So I think Seahawks take this one easily.
Last 3 or 4 years, the Seahawks have been the hottest team in the second half of the season. So I'm going to take the Seahawks.
Seahawks win it. Packers, Redskins.
This is a tough one. Packers are not having a great year, and the Redskins are coming around. So I think Redskins at home. I'm going to go with the Redskins.
I'm going to agree with you, Matt. The Packers are not playing well. Kirk Cousins is starting to figure it out here again. He started off a little cold, getting hot now. Wide receivers, Jamison Crowder really came out of the seams this year, and I think he's going to carry them this week.
As much as I love Kirk Cousins, I think Aaron Rodgers is going to come back this week and have a good week, and the Packers are going to take this one.
I don't even think if Aaron Rodgers believes he can win this game, Gabe. Vernon Davis, I'm expecting another good game out of him this week, too. Redskins win.
Redskins, you like that. All right, let's move on. Who's our breakout player to watch for this week?
Going off what Ann said, I think I'm going to go back to Vernon Davis this week. He had a great week last week. I mean, he's had a few rough years in the past few, but maybe with Kirk Cousins, he can bring it back.
I'm going with the rookie running back out of Notre Dame, C.J. Prosise for the Seahawks. Last week he had 66 rush yards and 87 receiving yards, and he's emerging as a Theo Riddick-type player for the Seahawks, and I think he's going to come back and be very intricate in the passing game for the Seahawks.
I'm going to go back to my favorite fantasy player, Gabe, Drew Brees. It feels like he owes his team one after losing that game to Denver last week, and still wants to show the NFL how good of a player he is.
I'm going to go with Chandler Jones from the Cardinals. I said the Vikings offense is atrocious, and I think he could cause some havoc.
Definitely, with that injured offensive line for the Vikings, Chandler Jones, he's a good player. I can see it happening easily. My player to watch for, Jared Goff. I'm looking forward to see the number one pick, how he plays. Can he handle it? We don't know. He's playing against a good Dolphins defense. Be fun to watch. What is our interesting thing to look for or our surprise of the week?
Gabe, my interesting thing to watch for this week is, are the Bills actually going to put out when they need to? Can Darby or Gilmore again stop A.J. Green? Because I'm telling you now, they didn't stop a thing against Seattle. And A.J. Green's better than any wide receiver they have there. If they can't figure it out, it's going to be a long game for those two, but let's hope they can.
Well, Darby might be benched, so that'll be my surprise of the week. I say Corey White steps in at cornerback for the Bills and plays well.
All right. I got the game, the Texans versus the Raiders. I like watching the Raiders personally, and I like to see Derek Carr win another game against a pretty good team.
Mexico City.
Ooh,
Oh, yeah,
that's
that's right,
right. That's
yeah.
right.
I'm watching that game with Lorenzo Alexander and Corbin Bryant on Monday night.
Monday Night Football.
Yeah,
At a
Spence.
watch party, yeah.
You have to tell us
Bring
all
him to the
about it.
pod.
No, absolutely.
Yeah, we'll give him a shout out. All right, here's what I'm looking forward to. I want a repeat of last week's college football week. It was great. The 2, 3, 4 all fall. Alabama's looking great. Now Alabama plays Chattanooga. I'm not going to call the upset. What will I call? I think I'm taking Chattanooga. If the spread is minus 100 Alabama.
Can you ever not be sarcastic?
All right. That wraps it up for this week, the NFL edition of our pod. Guys, thanks for stopping by.
Thank you,
Thanks.
Gabe.